Anthony on Air podcast, and we are live with you here. And the breaking news that the remains found yesterday are that indeed of Brian Luandrie. Frankie C is here, and we are going to go through the latest on all this information, including how he was found, who found him first. That might surprise you, actually, and a piece of evidence that remains that may actually help shed some light on what exactly happened to Gabby Petito. So hopefully there's some hope in that form right there. Frankie C, how you doing?
Doing all right, my man.
So breaking news, obviously, a few moments ago, the FBI in Denver, who is heading this investigation, released the information confirming that the remains found at the Carlton Reserve yesterday were that belonging to Brian Luandrie.
And they had to go through dental records, right? I mean, I don't know
Yeah,
what kind of condition they have to, you have to be in for them to identify you through dental records, but that's
not great condition,
new.
would be my guess.
That would be probably accurate.
Yeah, of course, if you're watching this video, please give us a thumbs up on Facebook or YouTube. Share it around because we're going to capture all the information, all the latest information, and just kind of deliver it to you right here. FBI, as Frank just said, confirmed the dental records. That was the form of identification. Two local detectives visited the Northport, Florida home of Laundrie's parents shortly before the FBI made the announcement. I have that video for you guys, so we'll bring that up on the screen.
Yep.
So you can see it. Kind of this weird, bizarre, solemn scene.
We wish he could have been taken in alive.
Yeah.
So we can get some answers, but this is what it is.
Well, there's some hope. So here's the two FBI agents that were entering the home. This video courtesy of WFLA News down in Florida. The agents rang the bell. They tried to get in. As you see here, this agent couldn't get in there first. And then he was eventually let in, and they walked out just a few moments later. I mean, when I share the rest of the story here with you, you'll kind of understand why it was a pretty quick visit. But
this was them delivering the news to the parents.
Yeah. Yep. Because the media is just they're camped out, so nothing's going to happen at that house without there being some footage of it.
Of course.
So you see, they went in there, and I'm not exactly sure how long, but it wasn't very long. A few moments later, they were seen exiting the house, as you can see here.
Yeah. So it is confirmed it's him, and see, there's hope that there's some details that we don't know that have been preserved somehow.
Yeah, so I have the I don't have the FBI press conference to share with you, but I have the quotes, and I have some things that kind of, there's one thing in particular that leaves a little bit of hope that maybe we'll have some sort of clue on what happened there. So so his family was notified. Later on, the family attorney, Stephen Bertolino, said that Chris and Roberta have been informed that the remains found yesterday in the reserve are indeed Brian's. We have no further comment at this time, and we ask that you respect the Laundrie's privacy, end quote. Also, the attorney for the Petito family, Richard Stafford, said they are not doing interviews currently right now. He released a statement saying, quote, "They are grieving the loss of their beautiful daughter. Gabby's family will make a statement at the appropriate time and when they are emotionally ready." I mean, it's an emotional. No, they don't have to, but you got to figure it's an emotional day for them as well. I mean, they've been in the dark with all of this stuff, and were they going to find him alive? Were they going to get some information, some clarity?
Yeah,
were they going to get to see him take the stand? That's all over now for them too. So a tough day for them, I'd imagine.
I feel like, the Petito family, just leave them alone. I mean, they don't have to make any kind of statement. Let them be. They did nothing wrong. They don't need to make any kind of statement. Just let them be. I just feel like just let them be for now. It seems like too much. Let's just let them be with their family and everybody, and just let's all move on. I feel.
Well, I think they'll make a statement when they're good and ready.
Right, but I'm saying it's not required. is what I'm saying. You know,
Not
they
required.
shouldn't have feel obligated.
Yeah.
So
So again, if you're just joining us here, skeletal remains and clothing found has been confirmed to be that of Brian Luandrie's. A police spokesperson, Josh Taylor, said, quote, "They are human remains, no doubt there. I would say that the remains were consistent with one individual, that being skeletal remains. Investigators also found clothing believed to be consistent with that Laundrie was wearing when he took off on September 13th. Less than a week after Laundrie went missing, authorities found Gabby Petito's remains, of course. And then yesterday we got the news that the notebook was found along with a backpack, the clothing, and then eventually the human remains.
right. So in the comments, Christy makes a good point. His body cannot decompose in that short of time. True, but the area he was found in was underwater for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's why they couldn't search the area. But then the water receded, and they were able to go in. That's where they found him. So the natural elements, I guess, got to his body, or animal. Who knows how he ended up in that spot. I'm sure they'll give us some kind of answer of what exactly when the coroner does the autopsy and everything.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that for a second. Because okay, two big pieces: the hope for some info on Gabby and
Mhm.
who exactly found him. We'll get into that, but let's talk about skeletal remains.
Right.
I mean, and again, nobody is exactly saying this, but the odds that it is an alligator that got him kind of feels pretty like, again,
Could
body
be.
can't decompose in that short of a time. Probably
Yeah.
most likely something was
Something
eating him.
bad. Yeah. Either that or he succumbed to some kind of you know, maybe he got some kind of infection, he got hurt and he couldn't move and he got stuck in the mud. He got, who the hell knows?
Yeah.
But chances are animal related, floods, that kind of quick moving in and out. I'm no expert on this, but that kind of, nature moving in and out that quickly. I'm sure the water helps that process along very quickly. Assuming that there are animals in that area, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And if he's been there a couple weeks, I'm sure that would move the process along and make him unrecognizable.
Well, the thing that I'm wondering is, see, this is my couple big questions with this. Did he go there? Did he kill himself? And then eventually, was he eaten by alligators? Or was he trying to survive? Was he on the hunt? Like you said, was he just kind of sleeping and, out there and just kind of barely surviving, living off of protein bars, whatever, and then again get attacked and eaten? I wonder
Right.
what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, it's all speculation right now. We don't know if he did take his own life, and then because he could have on that first day. You don't know. And then he's been out there for 3 weeks.
That's the thing. Yeah, exactly. He's just been out there just for weeks, and then came along and got eaten.
Yeah, and plus, who knows if they found his entire body? You don't know how much of him that they found. As Christy points out, if it was an animal, his body would be scattered. Maybe they just found parts of him. They found skeletal remains, right? That's what they're saying.
That's all they're saying. So we don't know if it was spread out. We don't
Don't know.
know.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, they're not releasing a lot of details yet.
I have something on the gun being found. Good comments coming in from Christy. April, wondering if he left a note. They haven't commented on that, but again, little piece of evidence. We're going to get to it here on there being some hope for getting some more information, for finding out some more information. So let's talk about who actually found him. It was his father. A lot of people were speculating, like, isn't it weird that they show up and all of a sudden they're found? Even weirder would be the fact that it was his father, Chris, who actually found him.
Now that's strange because, I mean, if you look at the,
Do you want to hear the story or do you want to comment on it?
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you can go if you want.
I was just saying when they showed the photo or the video of the parents on the trail, they didn't seem like they were deep in the forest. They seemed like they were right on the trail, like there was a path right there that looked like it wasn't overgrown. It looked like a path that's that I would imagine is used kind of often. So they weren't. It didn't look like that he may have been dug in pretty deep into that area. So you know, unless he drifted into that area or he was just on the side of the road there, it just seems like I don't know. He wasn't very far in to you know what I mean. It looks like he was right on the outskirts of that trail.
Of that trail. Yeah. Well, and again, could be that's just where the photo was taken of him. Could be that again, this was all underwater just, days ago, before they actually had a chance to come through and search for this in this particular area. But the Laundrie family attorney is describing the discovery as happenstance. Of course, Laundrie's family joined the search on Wednesday morning, and they found the bag belonging to their son. According to Bertolino, Laundrie's parents informed the FBI and the Northport Police Department on Tuesday night that they wanted to visit the park Wednesday morning to search for their son. Now, people that are conspiracy theorists are going to say this is awfully suspect. I can't exactly argue with them. I don't know how or why, especially the fact that he's dead. You know what I mean? I don't know. The only thing I can think of is that they were in some sort of a communication with him, and then that communication stopped, which is what made them worry. But at the same time, I find it hard to believe that they could have been in some form of communication with him, and the FBI did not know.
I mean, it's not like they can monitor their phone calls or something for that kind of.
Can they not?
I mean, you have to get a warrant for that. Maybe they did. They don't have to inform them of it. Maybe they did, but he was only. They were only looking for him because of the credit card. So it doesn't seem like that's enough to tap phones in the Laundrie house. But I don't know. I'm no law expert, but how many times am I going to say I'm no expert on this or that?
For a couple more. I want everybody to know it.
Okay.
By the way, this episode is brought to you by our good pals at Jumpstart Coffee Company. 50% of their proceeds go to the Navy SEAL Foundation. So if you want great coffee with a great cause, click the link in the description below. More on them in a second, of course. Let's get to this. Let's talk about how Chris went and found him. And of course, if you're enjoying this episode, if you've always been a fan of the podcast, we appreciate that. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube and Facebook. It helps the algorithm. It helps us get out to more people, which is so much appreciated. And of course, we've been talking about Gabby and Brian since this story was a story. So make sure you're subscribed to our channels, following us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, so you don't miss out on the latest. So they entered the park with law enforcement on Wednesday morning. Bertolino said, quote, as they went further in, Chris ventured off the trail into the woods. He was zigzagging in different areas. Law enforcement was doing the same thing. His mother, Roberta Laundrie, was walking down the trail. At some point, Chris located what was called a dry bag. The dry bag is a white bag laying in the woods, say 20 feet or so off the trail. So there you go, to answer your question right there. The dry bag was in some brambles, and he didn't want to move it because he wanted the law enforcement to see it, Bertolino said. However, Chris Laundrie couldn't find law enforcement and didn't want to leave the bag there with a news reporter standing nearby, so he picked it up.
Wait, what is the dry bag?
It is a white bag.
No, what is it? It's just a bag. Okay, it was just a bag.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
He did meet up shortly with law enforcement. They looked at the contents of the bag. At that time, law enforcement officers showed him a picture on the phone of a backpack that law enforcement had located also nearby and also some distance off the trail. At that point, the Laundries were notified there was also some remains near the backpack, and they were asked to leave the preserve. So he found this first bag. Law enforcement found the backpack, and at the same time, they found the remains. And that's when they said, it's better that you guys leave so that they could.
Okay, so they didn't find, Laundrie's father didn't find he found a bag.
He found the first thing, though. He did find it before the FBI, if I have the timeline correctly. It was all kind of
Right.
right around the same time, but it
Okay.
was that first thing that he found, and then of course they were in the trail and they were all zigzagging, and then that was it. So father technically found the first piece of evidence.
Okay. And then now, all right. So we know there was a backpack. What is this bag? I mean, what is it? Something significant in that? Do we know what's in that? I mean, I don't know. It's just a bag. I mean, I didn't know about the bag. I knew about the backpack and there was some notebook maybe, but I don't know about a bag.
Yeah, so supposedly there was a white bag as well.
Okay. All right. Could have been supplies, food, whatever.
Well, let me get a little bit into that, but of course, Jumpstart Coffee Company sponsors our podcast. We do a live read for them every episode. Let's do that right now. Link in the description below. Honestly, the greatest coffee that I've ever had. I am drinking it right now in our Anthony on Air mug right there. Frank's holding it up. They have
Nice.
The dark roast, the medium roast, which is my favorite. Caramel notes, little raisin notes in there. Very tasty, very delicious. Order with the link in the description and use the promo code AOA15 and you'll save 15% off this great coffee. And of course, Jumpstart Coffee Company, what makes them so special, besides the fact that they make amazing coffee, 50% of their profits get donated to the Navy SEAL Foundation. Those great men and women that keep us safe here in America. So if that touches your heart, click that link in the description below, order up some coffee. You could also click the banner on the homepage of anthonyonair.com.
Nice.
So Brian's father found the first piece of evidence. So let's talk about...
Yeah, it looks like Panda Bear points out it's called a dry bag. It wasn't just a dry bag. It's called a dry bag because it's something like it's waterproof and it keeps whatever's inside dry when you're boating, according to Panda Bear.
Right.
Thank you for that comment.
Thanks, Panda Bear. So, what's significant about this, though, is the notebook. According to the FBI, the notebook has not been opened yet that they found. That will, of course, need to be processed. A source with knowledge of the investigation is saying that the notebook is possibly salvageable, even though the notebook was said to be outside of the dry bag. It had been clearly wet, and they are going to use any potential means to dry that out before opening it, according to the source who added they'll be very careful with it. Source is unclear on how the notebook ended up outside of the bag. When Mr. Taylor, the spokesperson for the authorities, was asked whether or not a weapon was found, he said he could not comment. So to answer the question before, was there a gun? No comment is not a no.
It's not a no, but it's not a yes. You can't. In other words, they're asking about the contents of these bags, and they can't comment on anything yet until they go through it and see what kind of evidence is in there. So they can't say no. They can't say yes. They just can't say yet until they go through everything and process it. Makes sense.
Yeah, it does. But it brings us to... Go ahead, Frank. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying people are asking in the comments. No, they didn't. The father didn't find the body. Father found what's called a dry bag. And then authorities came by, found the backpack, and found the remains.
Correct. So now we're sitting here, and the notebook is our only remaining hope because they're going to dry this thing out. The source said he believes it's salvageable, or they believe it's salvageable. This is, like we speculated on our previous podcast on yesterday, is basically our only hope. Did he write down what happened? Is there some form of confession? Is there some sort of, thought process, diary thing? Even if he didn't explicitly say what happened to Gabby, between him and Gabby, or what he did to Gabby, did he, what was he writing in those last couple days? Was there remorse? Was there, was it more just like, I have this much food left, or I left a thing here to eat, or...
Yeah, to be honest, why, if you're on the run, if you leave, you're going into hiding, why even have a notebook? Unless you're going to write down what happened.
I don't like to
what
give
are you
you
writing
credit.
down?
I don't like to give you credit often, but it is a great point. If you're on the run, you took the time to stop and grab a notebook.
Right. What are you documenting other than your maybe spilling your conscience out onto the notebook? I mean,
Right.
other than that, it's not like he wasn't out there bird watching. He wasn't documenting in wildlife. What else could he have a notebook for? Hopefully, they're able to salvage it, unless it was I don't know, unless it was some kind of keepsake memory thing from his past that he just wanted to have with him. Who knows?
What if, and I feel like somebody alluded to this in the comments a couple of moments ago, what if it was to write a suicide note?
Yeah, yeah, could have been, definitely. It's not impossible. That seems like if someone's on the run from something like this, if you bring something to write with, why? Why carry that with you if you're trying to keep on the move and stay and carry limited supplies? Why carry a notebook? That
M-
seems like this
Maybe
was planned.
maybe it was a habit. Gina says she thinks he typically carried a book while camping. He had it while out with Gabby. Maybe this was just something that he was accustomed to doing, is writing
Well,
down.
what was in the, what did he write down while he was camping then? He
I don't know.
just
Like I said,
journaled his
yeah, maybe it
daily.
was just a little journaling. Maybe it was tonight we did this, or we ate this, or we caught this sunset, or we're here, or
Right.
how many miles they covered, or how many
Right.
budget,
Well,
trip
this was
budget.
not an ordinary trip. This wasn't. He's not, again, like, he's not out bird watching. He's not out, doing his regular camping routine. This is him on the run. So to have a notebook with you, I can't imagine he's writing down. I passed by beautiful trees today.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I could appreciate Brianna's Facebook profile picture there. It could have been filled with notes about the area because he spent time there before. It could have been a guide.
Yeah, that's
Excellent
true.
point.
That's a good point. Didn't think of that. Could
Maybe
have been
he
a
knew
guide.
when certain areas flooded and what trails were good, and that was all written down in the notebook.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's how, again, we don't know how he died. We don't know what happened. It looks to me, I mean, we don't know what it looks like, but it seems to me animals were involved along with the elements, the water, flooding, mud, all that kind of stuff. Because for 3 weeks, it's not going to be in that kind of condition without the elements. The body's not going to be in that kind of in condition without elements playing a part.
Um, Emily commenting, this was so sloppy, hard to believe. I will say, how desperate do you have to be as the authorities to let the parents? Well, I mean, and by the way, not the first time they were there. This is the other part that kind of knocks most conspiracy theories about this. Christopher Laundrie was there on the scene like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I remember. We did a podcast on it. You can go back to our previous episodes here. Of course, all our old episodes are on YouTube and Facebook, and of course, anywhere podcasts are available: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn. Make sure you guys subscribe if you like listening to the audio version of the podcast. But we covered this. So, if this was some sort of a conspiracy theory, I mean, maybe the idea that he was going to visit once and give him nothing before he visited and gave him something doesn't really play with me. I don't really know about that. But I mean, I feel like they, as they were sitting there trying to figure it out, they struck out the first time and then they got lucky and hit on it this time. But how desperate do you have to be the FBI to be like, yeah, come on in. We're trying to figure this out. Like, I don't know, where would it be? Like, it's
Well,
one
I
thing
don't
to
know if it's
let them.
desperate. Yeah, go
No,
ahead.
but answer this question. It's one thing to say, do you have any other thoughts? Where else could he be? And then and them say, oh, in this area, and they go, okay, thanks, we'll take a look. But
That's
they let
true.
them on the trail and they let them look themselves.
I mean, there are people, they when you do search parties, it's just random people, just from the area, just looking. So this could have been search party style, where it's just people. We need as many eyes as we can get, and you guys know this area. Maybe you can guide in some way. You've been up here a million times. Maybe you know the area well enough there. You could lead us to where he might go. So maybe they were, when you're going up into that area, it doesn't hurt I mean, I'm thinking and trying to put myself in the cop's shoes. Maybe it doesn't hurt to have experts that know the area and know the trails and know which ways to go. So it just seems, yeah, it's weird to bring the suspects' parents. Maybe get some other experts, trail guides, tour, park rangers or whatever would be around. Maybe get them, the parents, bringing the parents along, especially you don't know what you're going to find. That's a touchy situation. I mean, what if the mother stumbled on her child, in that condition?
Yeah.
She could have contaminated the whole thing. She would fall to pieces. First of all, second, she would probably not be able to control what she does around that area. So it's a dangerous call to bring the parents of the suspect along, unless they didn't know, because if they were thinking maybe we could find him alive, the parents may have been a bargaining chip. May have been like we need, your parents are going to talk to you to bring you out. Maybe they, you know what I
Maybe.
mean? Maybe if there was a standoff of some kind, your parents are here, they want to talk to you, kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder. That's a good point. But I feel like they usually do that after they found something.
Yeah, maybe.
People are skeptical though. It took them 30 to 45 minutes to find the backpack and the remains after a 5-week search. Again, I understand the suspicion, but according to everybody with knowledge of the situation, this area was flooded and they couldn't find anything, which leads me to believe that he's been dead for some time and that area flooded and they couldn't find him.
Yeah, I mean and maybe they wanted to search the area, but they didn't even. You know what? Let's search they probably thought he's not going to be in there alive because it's flooded. So once it drained out, yeah, let's check there. So that makes sense. And Ms. Rogers 147 says he's never named a suspect. I don't know why it's weird. They say person they want to talk to. Well, he was, for lack of a better term, he was a suspect. He was wanted for credit card fraud.
Right.
But for all intents and purposes, I feel like maybe he wasn't named a suspect, but person of interest, I think maybe he was, right?
Person of interest. Yeah. I think that's just, legally they're just
Semantics.
watching their own backs. Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't have, I guess they didn't have evidence to call him a suspect.
Yeah.
It's just the last person to know,
But it also goes to show you they had no idea whether he was alive or dead because
Yeah.
if they had a feeling that he was dead, they probably wouldn't have, I mean, you can't really take that chance though,
Yeah.
June brings up a good point. Wouldn't he be floating? Kind of hard to say because if it's like 3 feet of water,
Yeah,
not really much water to float. 2
yeah, and
feet
it
of
could
water.
be muddy, swampy water.
It's swampy. Yeah.
If it's something that, I mean, if there's a backpack or something, it's just remains. I mean, they're not going to go, even if he was floating, okay, but they didn't go through there to search. So once the water receded, obviously, he would go from floating to settled on the ground, and that's when they found him.
Yeah.
So
And again,
floating or not,
what are we talking about here? Like something like 25,000 acres or some crazy, like this is a huge
area to
area.
cover. Even though he was 45 minutes away from the house?
It wasn't that far from his house.
Give or take.
DJ Shenanigan, one of my faves. If they call him a suspect, gives him the reason to run. Good point.
That's true. They didn't name him a suspect.
Person of interest, it's a little less threatening if you do wind up coming across him.
Yeah, no, we just want to bring you, we just want some answers. That's all. Yeah. You're not under arrest for this. We just want to talk to you. Makes sense to do that.
Again, to our point about swampy grounds, Deb writing in if there were branches, maybe he would not float. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know what, I mean, I'm sure not the easiest place to traverse. I'm sure there's branches and mud and God knows what else, all these kind of plants and stuff. I'm sure it's not just a lake, and that you could just float. I'm sure it's swampy mess in there.
Yeah. But that leads me to the question, like that's the big question. And I wonder why they didn't answer that just yet. about the weapon is, if there's a gun there, you've got to assume he killed himself, and then this was an alligator just or whatever,
Right.
you know. And wouldn't I would think that you would be able to. Somebody said it before. The remains would have been spread around. I'm sure there would be some sort of damage to the bones via teeth if he
Well, we don't
was,
know that stuff yet. I mean, I'm
yeah.
sure there could be, but the coroner and whoever else, the medical examiner, I'm sure will do an autopsy and figure out exactly what happened.
And plus, how much of him was found? Again, if you're talking about just a few parts remaining,
Yeah, we know at least his teeth were found because I'm sure maybe his upper body or whatever, but it was enough to do a dental ID, but not enough, obviously, to just do a visual ID.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people saying in the comments that maybe his parents had something to do with him being dead, which again is a conspiracy theory. It's a theory. It's out there, but who
What, that
knows?
the parents killed him?
Parents killed him and dumped him there. Is Michelle says that. Michelle Swisher looks like.
Parents just as guilty for murder as their coward son.
Who knows? I mean,
and we talked about this last podcast. Again, go back, check out some of our past episodes if you're enjoying the content here. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. Hit that bell to get the notifications for when we do put out new episodes. Follow us on Facebook. Links and info to everything is up at anthonyonair.com. That's anthonyonair.com. But we talked about this yesterday, the fact that, this is just shitty all around. Like,
yeah,
it's shitty for the Petitos. And even if they helped or not, it's shitty for his parents too. Like, one, they had to live with the fact that their son did this to this poor girl. The disappointment of your son doing something awful like that. And now the fact that you lost your son. It doesn't make sense to me that they would kill him.
No, I mean, I can't imagine, even if your son came home and said, "Mom, Dad, I did this terrible thing." Maybe in a blind rage is the extreme case, but I can't imagine someone being so. I can imagine them being sad and maybe mad, but I can't imagine someone being murderous to their son for that. But maybe I'm being naive. But I don't. Again, we don't know anything at this point yet. Cause of death still unknown.
Yeah.
We know that he's not as he's more decomposed than he should be by this time. So chances are he's been out there a while. So even if the parents did have something to do with it, which long shot, but if the parents did have something to do with it, they would have had to. He would have been out there for a long time. It would have been a while ago.
Maximili, I know you're not feeling sorry for the family. It's not that I'm feeling sorry for the family. It's just, this is an awful situation. It's just awful all the way around. It's just loads of disappointment stacked upon, disappointment. That's really.
I mean, it's a lot. I mean, a lot happening to these two families in the span of just a few weeks.
In a short amount of time. And by the way, unraveling in front of the entire world.
Very public and very just. I mean.
Hold on, Frank's not an expert. Let's ask Gina's question. Do alligators eat bones? Sorry to be graphic, just wondering.
I am an expert. No, they eat. They do. They digest. They ingest the bones, and their stomach acid is strong enough to dissolve bone. That I happen to know.
I'm sure they'll. I mean, I don't know if there will be. I don't know if they'll go to this extent, but they have in the past alligator attacks gone out and seeked out the alligator, cut the stomach open to see if they could find. The person. That's definitely happened. But here's the thing, that doesn't necessarily mean they ate everything, and again, the skull is a little bit tougher, which is why it's easy to have teeth as part of the remains, and you could do dental record checks.
Yeah. Plus, there's not just alligators out there. There's snakes. There's moccasins. There's panther.
What do shoes have to do with this, Frank? Come on.
I don't know what to tell you, but the shoes are out there. And they're deadly.
No, didn't they call them water moccasins, which we learned
water
was
moccasins?
Snake? Yeah.
They're big ass snakes, and they could be deadly. But there are panthers.
Have they questioned the alligator yet? Great question, Athena. I don't know. We'll have to find out. I'd love to get this alligator on the stand. Get him in the witness chair.
That'd be something.
Put the hot light on him, like they did to Newman in Seinfeld.
Pretty hot under these lights, eh, Costanza?
You brought up a good point though. Before I went off and was a wise ass. Panthers. We talked about this in a previous podcast. There are a lot of Panthers in that area.
Yeah.
They named a hockey team after the Florida, the Panthers. There's a lot of Panthers in that area. That is possible that it wasn't an alligator, that it was some sort of another animal like a panther.
It could have been. I mean, it could have been an alligator that just did a messy job of whatever. And I'm basing my alligator knowledge on TV. So, I mean, I didn't read this in any alligator textbook. So
that
take
might be
it
the
for what
funniest
it's worth.
quote I've ever seen. This might be
What?
the funniest thing ever.
Hey, if he was wearing Crocs, he got what he deserved. DJ shenanigan.
That works on two levels. One, I
Yeah.
imagine the crocodile would take offense to that, and two, I've been accused. I wear Crocs and I've been made fun of for it all the time. So that joke
Well, you
works
deserve that.
on multiple levels. Good for you, DJ Shenanigan.
Well played, good sir.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, again, two big things coming out of this that we're still expecting to find out in the next couple of days. Which again, make sure you're subscribed to our channel on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching. If you listen to the podcast via the audio side, you can subscribe on Apple Podcast, Spotify. One, what's in that notebook? Is there info on Gabby? Is there a suicide note? Two, was there a weapon around? Again, that'll give us some sort of an idea of what exactly happened. Because I really do want to know. It matters to me. I want to know, did he take his own life, or was he fighting to the bitter end to survive and just got, could it, like I said, could have been sleeping somewhere, whatever. Gator comes up, Panther comes up.
That's
It's over.
the end. Yeah, I mean, there's no fighting off a 20-foot gator.
No way,
I mean,
especially if it's catching you by surprise in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it's a hard fight. Yeah, I mean, and how fast floodwaters can come in, who knows? Again, the until we have the medical examiner's report, the autopsy, we really don't know. Sooner Nation says, I bet he hung himself. Again, maybe, but we don't know. It could have been anything like that. If he hung himself,
I don't think so though. But he would have been dangling from a tree then.
maybe. How many weeks? A tree could have fell. This could have fell.
Oh, true. I didn't think of that. Actually,
Who
that's a good
knows?
point.
You don't know. Could have been anything.
Yeah.
He could have just got. He could have literally. It could have been anything. He could have got bitten by something, got an infection, and died, and then things just kind of came. Animals came along. Could have been literally anything that's out there. The elements.
All right. Established writing and Hillary found him. Now, I'm not ready to add Brian to the Hillary body count yet,
Boy.
but I'm not exactly ready to not add him.
I mean, did we have eyes on Hillary? Do we know where she is or where she was for the last 3
There
weeks?
should be somebody on the Clintons at all times.
I mean, I know Bill was in the hospital for a little while, but
that's
was
true.
Hillary at her side?
Well, if
at
you're
his
going to believe
side?
mainstream media, then okay. But I don't
Right. Well,
know. Yeah,
where's the crocodile hunter when you need him?
I know.
Miss Justice. Well, his son's on. Well, what about Dog? Dog didn't do anything. I mean, he tried. I guess that's all we can ask.
Yeah,
Does he
some
get
is-
paid?
Dog does not get paid on this.
Oh,
Yeah, he
no.
doesn't get the bond on this one.
No.
It's not happening. I did find this super bizarre. I don't know what this is from. And I want to share it with everybody. It came off of TikTok. Again, I don't know if this is real or fake. Is this a deep fake face? It's just a really weird and bizarre thing that showed up on Twitter. I don't know. I'm going to put this out there because I'm hoping that somebody can shed some light on it. But it's Dog the Bounty Hunter just screaming something about Brian. Here it is right here.
Let me have you, Brian! Let me have you, Brian!
He's screaming, "Let me have you, Brian." Is that real?
Let me have you, Brian!
It's very strange, isn't it?
It's extremely strange.
Let me have you,
It didn't come
Brian.
from a Dog the Bounty Hunter TikTok. It came from a JD Morris. So
Let me have you, Brian.
anybody has info on that, I'd love to find
That's
out what the hell that exactly is.
Let me have you, Brian.
that's extremely strange, and it's a little it's weird to I mean, he's taking it very personally.
Mm.
I get being passionate, but that's a little extreme. It doesn't. I don't know if it's real. It doesn't. Maybe it is. Who knows? Dog's a little off the deep end a little bit, right? Or is that
Listen, like, yeah, going back on it now, it's October 21st. Yeah, as I was doing research before the show here on this one, I looked at, like, I checked Dog's Twitter because he was throwing a lot of updates our way through his Twitter at first. And the last time Dog tweeted about this was October 3rd, so 18 days ago.
it's a low? And that was what, him having a sprained ankle or something?
That was him wading through the water with the boat. Remember, he got off
Okay.
the boat and was walking into like the swampy area. And then of course we got the news that he hurt his ankle and he went back to Colorado and said he was continuing the search, remotely. Looking back on it now, this was such a headline grabber. Like, this was a publicity stunt. He did next to nothing.
I mean, to be fair, he was in the right state. Let's give him that.
I mean,
I mean,
okay, I can't
he
argue
wasn't
with
looking. Everybody was saying Appalachian. I mean, everybody was saying Appalachian Trail. They were saying he went to California. They were saying this and that. At least Dog was looking in the right state. He wasn't far, I don't think, from the Laundrie home. I don't know though about that. Um, uh,
Yeah, I don't know if he's saying "let me grab you, Brian," or like Stephanie says here, "let me help you, Brian." I don't know, but the fact that he delivered this in that sort of a way, it kind of gives me the douche chills. It seems like a big attention grabbing
yeah, to
thing.
get that kind of an intense soundbite, it's a little off-putting. Big thank you to Frank Jacoby.
Yeah, thanks for the super chat on YouTube here. He says that's real. That was from the same interview where he was saying something like, "Maybe you did the wrong thing, but do the right thing now." All right, so I missed that.
Let me help you, Brian, or let me have you, Brian. I feel like help. It's a weird, intense way to say help.
Yeah. It is really weird. Appreciate the super chat, Frank. Very generous of you. Thank you for that. Really
Yes.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
And thanks even more so for the information. It just, yeah, I honestly, I mean, we went, and us included, I feel like we all kind of had a little hope for Dog. We were kind of like rallying around him at the beginning there. And now I kind of feel like the complete opposite. Like, I think it kind of feels like Dog owes some people some apologies here for making
Maybe.
a mockery out of all this and just spreading his name and getting in the papers and getting on TV.
To be fair, he was helping. He was looking, and I got to say, I was rooting for anybody looking, no matter
We
who
all
it
were.
was.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we all were.
it's not like the more eyes, the better. The more people involved in this, the better. If it's Dog that found him, great. It just happened to be that it wasn't. But I guess was it a waste of time? No. I mean, he was at least he was looking. There was people that aren't looking. He was looking. So
Well, Janine, our own J Sabs was looking. She was on her iPad a lot. I remember that. So let's.
any
credit
luck
where it
there?
goes.
Probably not.
But to get this fired up over it, I mean,
Let me have you, Brian.
That
just
sounds
seems very
like have.
disingenuous to me. I don't know. I get the douche chills.
Yeah, it's very weird. I mean, it's out of context, but still very weird.
Yeah, and as DJ Shenanigan points out, and we've said this a whole slew of times before, the one daughter he's not talking to called him out day one that this was a publicity stunt and he shouldn't have been doing this.
Yeah, this is why I don't have kids. No, I'm kidding.
My kid's 6 and 4, and they're already distancing themselves from me, so I kind of
It's a
relate.
good
to
move,
Dog on
guys.
that.
Take
Our
it
own
from
Miss
your Uncle
Justice,
Frank.
one of the greats, crediting the chat with being very good tonight. There you go. Everybody's doing
Yeah.
a good job in the chat.
You guys are doing a good job. Thanks for participating. It's always good to have everybody
Yeah.
throwing their voice in there and participating. It's nice.
And again, I hate begging for thumbs up. I hate it, but it works. If you
So
put a
don't.
thumbs up, it helps the podcast. So we
Stop,
appreciate that.
stop begging, damn it.
I know I hate it, but we have to do it. Thumbs up, the stupid algorithm. We're slaves to the algorithm. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So, hit the thumbs up on this. And of course, if you're enjoying the content, subscribe on YouTube, hit that bell notification, and follow us on Facebook. Again, links to all of our social profiles are over at anthonyonair.com. That's anthonyonair.com. If you're joining us for the first time tonight, we appreciate it. We hope you guys stick around.
I was going to make a very insensitive joke. I don't know if I should make it.
Let's hold off on it. You've been drinking whiskey, and
I have been
not
drinking whiskey. Let's not.
You're
Let's
a
keep that
softie.
one. Let's keep that one on the inside. Not going to do it.
We'll keep that for the Patreon episode, for the private episode, for sure.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah. Bob, do we know anything other than Brian is dead? We know. Let's recap. This would be a good time to recap. People are popping onto the podcast. If you're listening to this on your own time on demand, apologies if you're hearing this information again. Brian's skeletal remains were found. The father found a bag first. It was dry. The
Well, it's
FBI.
a dry bag.
Yes.
It's literally made to keep your contents dry inside of it in case you're boating. Thank you for the forget who said that,
Yes.
but yeah, that's what it's for.
So he found that first. He had media near him, so he picked it up before he could get authorities to come by. As he was bringing that information over to his wife and the authorities informed the parents who were searching that day. In fact, they were the ones who decided to search in that area, that they had found a backpack and some remains, and they asked them to leave as they closed down the park, as they continued to do that search through that area. That was yesterday, and then, of course, 24 hours, taking the remains in to do a dental record check, and the confirmation that it was indeed Brian Luandrie. But as we said, we don't know if there was a weapon near him, and we do know that the notebook is, according to a source with knowledge of the information, salvageable, was wet, then dry. They're not opening it yet because they want to kind of, I guess, wait for it to completely dry out, and then they'll open it and see what's in there. Suicide note, description of what happened between him and
Maybe
Gabby.
some kind of confession, right?
Diary notes, who knows what's in there, but I feel like that's the next big piece of this puzzle, is what exactly is in that notebook.
2 bags too, as well. He got his backpack, the
Yeah.
dry bag.
Yeah.
Who knows what's in both of those things? Just be supplies, but it could be anything. And the notebook is a huge, hopefully, clue to unwrapping this whole thing.
Yeah, huge asset. Because I don't know how much, Paul, so the dry bag may have some stuff intact. Yes. And what's in there? I'm sure there's not. Here's the thing, like, you don't really, if there's knives and guns and ropes, it may seem like I'm going to kill myself with one of these things, but it's also, you're surviving out in the wilderness. So it's kind of hard.
Could just be food.
Yeah.
Could, obviously it's stuff why you would have a backpack and a dry bag. Why would it all be dry bag? I don't know. There's a lot to this. I feel like we're not going to know until for a couple days.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm excited to know. And again, that's why I'm saying subscribe. Make sure you guys are with us because when we do get that information, we'll be sure to talk about it for sure here on the podcast.
And we've had Dog's face up for a while. Maybe
yeah, we should take that down, right?
It's kind of disturbing.
A little annoying, isn't it? That's all the information, Frank. Anything else on Brian Luandrie that you want to talk about?
Again, I mean, until the coroner tells us the cause of death, how long he's been. I'm sure the coroner could tell us how long he's been out there, and what attributed to the rapid decay of his body. We just are speculating. But it's him, and it's my own thoughts. I wish they would have found him alive, simply for the fact that maybe he could have given the Petito family a little bit more closure.
Okay,
but,
I love Butch's comment because it's ludicrous, ridiculous. Some may even say stupid.
That
I think the exact same way that he does.
yeah, if he's
I'm with
maybe
you on
Jason
this.
Bourne.
Look,
can't-
I like. You go, I read that. You go, that's crazy. And then you go, yeah, but maybe.
I think we're giving Brian Laundrie a little too much credit.
Rich's comment, which again, I feel like this is exactly how I think too. So credit to you, Butchie. Is it possible that Brian killed some guy and left stuff there to look like him? He had a lot of time to plan that. I mean, you're
He would have
talking
had to.
about,
He would have had to have faked the dental records too.
which, by the way, is not out of the realm of possibility, because if we learned anything from the whole 9 yards, that was the basic plot of that film. Sorry for the spoilers. But they remember they went to the dentist and they took Bruce Willis's teeth out and put it in another guy, and then they burned the car.
But Matthew Perry in that movie was a dentist and could do that. But in this case, Brian Laundrie was a 22-year-old kid who was on the run in the wilderness. I doubt he was able to pull off anything that insanely clever and intricate. But hey, is there a small chance? No.
No, I mean a tiny itty bitty 0.0000001% chance, I guess.
Yeah. Highly unlikely though.
I mean, I could go along with something like this a little bit more prior to the dental record thing.
Yeah, if it was just, then again, they would have done a DNA thing. Which I'm sure they're going to do as well. If they have bone, they got DNA.
Yeah.
So that I'm sure takes a little bit more time, and I'm sure it's him. If they know, they wouldn't say it's him unless they're sure.
They wouldn't have gone to the. Yeah, they don't. That's not. They don't want to retract these kinds of statements. So.
No. Oh, but yeah, you know what? We screwed up. It's not him.
Yeah, we fucked that one up. Yeah.
No, that doesn't happen. I mean, if it does, it's very rare. But I doubt it.
Yeah. Extraordinary.
But hey, no, there's no dumb. Never mind. There's a lot of dumb.
There's no dumb comments on this podcast. And if you do make one, we'll find a way to beat it out. That's for sure. Do you want to go? Do you want to go on and do a couple more topics, or you want to just leave it with the Brian Laundrie update?
What do you think, chat? Should we do some more topics?
We don't have many more. We've got a couple more things that really happened today. I mean, I feel like the whole entire world is focusing on this Brian Laundrie story.
It's a big story.
Breaking news.
It's a big thing, but this, I believe, unless something huge happens, I don't think we'll be doing a show tomorrow. Should we say?
Yeah, this would be the third show for the week. So no, again, unless something massive, unless they release the notebook information, tomorrow we'll be here for that. But I don't think so. I think they're going to take the weekend for that one,
Right. Okay, so a lot of people are telling us to keep going. Let's do some more topics.
All right, let's do some more topics. The other big topic of the day today was, it happened last night, actually, just after we got off the air, and that was that President Trump announced his social media company.
And what is it? Does it have a name? I heard a lot about this, but I didn't know if it has a name or
not. Yes, it has a name. You didn't see our little group chat?
I try not to get involved with my friends.
With my friends.
No, I didn't. There's a lot of chats, and I was working, so I didn't really get a chance to sift through it all.
Yes, the Trump Media and Technology Group, which I believe is a new venture. It's a SPAC, if you will. Do you know what that is?
No.
So funny. This is not a criticism of Trump. This is a criticism of Wall Street. A SPAC years ago was looked upon like a, for lack of a better term, pyramid scheme. Like it was just a shitty way. When you couldn't legitimately take a company public, you created a SPAC. Now, because we've lost all sorts of, we lost whatever little sense of, morals we had on Wall Street in the last 5 years, 10 years, especially.
It's the Wild West over there.
Yeah. Now SPACs are the most popular way to take a company public. So that completely 180'd from
There's no laws against that.
Well, there was never a law against it. It was just looked down upon. There was a process into taking a company public. You had to kind of, you had to get, certain things in order and whatever. And a SPAC was like a shortcut way if you couldn't really do that. Now, all of a sudden, everybody is going public with SPACs. It's like the latest trend. And so President Trump is doing the same. So that's the Trump Media and Technology Group. He announced Wednesday the launch of a new social media network
Wait, let me guess the
named.
name. Orange Facebook.
Oh, would you stop it?
Come
Truth
on.
Social.
Truth Social.
Yes.
That's dumb.
Truth Social. A beta version will be available to invited guests in November. I wonder if we're going to be. Hannity's going to be on that list. I don't know if we're going to make the cut because of all of your negativity towards the man.
No
I believe.
thanks.
Now, just because of you, Frank, we won't be getting an invite to that.
So you have to be invited.
Well, it's a beta version, which is common with these sorts of things, in November, and a nationwide rollout is expected in the first quarter of 2022. According to a press release, the company says its mission is to, quote, create a rival to the liberal media consortium and fight back against the big tech companies of Silicon Valley.
Hey.
Let me give the new people a heads up here. I will give fair commentary to this. Frank will be slamming the former president for the next 20 minutes or however long we talk about this.
It's like you've met me.
All right, so a couple of obvious things. Put the president aside for a second. He's obviously a very popular person. He obviously has an extremely loyal following. Even with that, since Instagram, it has been incredibly difficult. And I know about TikTok. Wait for it, damn it. I'll get there. Since Instagram, nobody has really launched a social media network with any sort of success. Instagram was really the last one, and they got bought up by Facebook way too early in the process. Now, TikTok was Musical.ly, so they go back a really, really long time.
Right.
And what's different about TikTok, and I love TikTok, this is not a slam, but they were there. They got lucky with the pandemic. Not to say that TikTok wasn't great, not to say that it wouldn't have continued to grow, but nobody can argue with the fact that everybody being told to stay home in the entire world for 30 some, however long we were doing it for, a month, 2 months, people stayed for a year.
It was the golden age of TikTok.
TikTok took off. And so, not to say again that it wouldn't have grown in popularity, but it was eased by a once in a century type situation.
Yeah, TikTok and Tide Pods just fucking took off.
Yeah, so kind of a strange scenario with TikTok. To my point, Triller, which was a TikTok alternative, which spent a lot of time growing, has now basically faded into nothingness. Nobody is using Triller because everybody has TikTok. These things tend to be really organic and can't be helped. Right. What?
I feel like that's kind of what this is. It was someone who has a huge following, just creating. That's the only way another one was going to come up. I feel
it doesn't necessarily work that way. I.e., take a look at Quibi. Quibi had all sorts of money behind it, big stars behind it, huge names, angel investors. It was the biggest bust ever. And again, during a time where everybody was home, 10-minute videos should have succeeded. It was one of the biggest flops and failures of all time. Triller, the same thing.
You would think, come up with a nonsense word. Done. Quibi. Come up with a platform, something that everybody else isn't doing. That's hard to do. I feel like you got a nonsense word, you're halfway there.
That's true.
You do services by Steve, by the way.
You do need a nonsense word. Mariah first. I'm just excited. I'm catching this live stream. My favorite Italians. That's very generous, Mariah.
Gabagool.
By the way, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn. You are my favorite, Mariah, with apologies to Miss Carrie. Just
Mariah.
facts.
I don't think I think there's only two in the world, you and Mariah Carey. I know of no other Mariah.
Yeah. Very kind of you. Painting services by Steve. Keep up the good work, guys. You need to do an update on your third Musketeer's cousin and his girlfriend from the other side of the planet.
When we hear from him, we'll let you know.
Yeah, but that's a great one.
I mean, it's funny. $9.99. I like that number. It's
yes.
$10.
Yeah.
$9.99.
Not ready to commit the full 10. I don't think we're worth it.
I agree. I don't even think we're up to $9.99 standards, but that's fine. We appreciate it.
That's basically my entire life. Just shy of greatness. Can't get there.
Right
but
there.
yes, Jay Sab's cousin went over to, where'd he go? Yugoslavia? Turkey?
Turkey.
Aramistan?
One of those. It was
Zamunda.
Turkey, which
sure.
is not, which everybody was, even Jay Sabs was like, oh, it's crazy over there. No, it's not. It's Turkey. It's fine.
No, it's crazy. I mean, but I also think the same thing about Jersey. I don't like going over there for too long. Get worried.
I agree. That's kind of true.
Yeah.
Certain spots, but most of it.
But yeah, her cousin went over there to spend 2 weeks with some lady that he met online.
Yeah. To be fair, they were talking for 7 or 9 months or something like that.
Yeah, but to be fair, they also got a tattoo within like 3 days of being together.
Yeah, that's that's unique. It's different, but you know what? Last we heard, they met, they hung out for the 2 weeks. It was a week they spent at a resort, and then a week he spent at the young lady's home. Right?
That's rough with her family. That's a rough week.
And we, to best of our understanding, everything went well. Jay Sabs shared a picture with the two of them together in a photo. True. It looked like a nice couple. And then he came home, and I think the next step was he was going to bring her over so that she would visit America, come here,
right,
for whatever amount of time. I don't know if that happened yet.
I don't know if we're doing that in America right now. Are we letting outside people come in for a little bit? I feel like there was a delay on that with COVID and all the other stuff.
I think people are coming in. People could come in. I think they have to either be vaccinated or have some kind of test. But I don't know the COVID test. But I think you're allowed to travel. Business.
Are we letting people from Turkey in this country? 2 people we shouldn't let in. 2 groups of people. People from Turkey and people from Jersey are the 2 groups.
They're already in, my friend. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, Jesus.
Jersey's already infiltrated.
I'm uncomfortable with the whole thing. Yeah, they were planning to come back, and then I think he also said he was gonna propose to some degree.
Okay, established 07. Watch the 1985 movie Clue if you want to see how they already knew all this would happen. I love that movie Clue, and I don't know what you're talking about. What would happen? I don't know, but that's my wife's favorite movie of all time, and it's one of my favorite movies. It's up there. It's in my top 10. But I don't know what you mean.
We'll have it. Next time Jay Sabs comes back, we'll have an update. Of course, she's not with us tonight because she's in Florida vacationing without her children. As any
fusion is a red herring. I remember that in the movie, but who's talking fusion bomb? I don't know. Yeah.
By the way, painting services by Steve. I feel like I should redo this wall. What color? I'd like your professional opinion, please, sir. Thank you.
I could see you doing a nice deep red behind you with the black tile.
Red?
Like a dark, like burgundy.
This is a dark burgundy. What is wrong with you?
Let me see.
Can you see? Your contacts in?
Oh,
you should wear contacts and glasses.
You know what? I wasn't even looking at your wall. All right. How about, what if we go the opposite? We go bright. We go a nice blue, a sky blue.
But our color palette's black and white.
Okay.
Do you know what show you're on?
No. Where am I? To be fair, I've had 2 glasses of whiskey.
I know. I'm starting to get the feeling like I should end this before we're apologizing on the next podcast for something that was said in a drunken Frank stupor.
It makes for good podcast.
And we're talking about Trump too. So Trump and alcohol for Frank are like, that's,
bring it.
Becomes a carnival. Becomes a carnival ride.
From what I understand, his crappy social media crashed today. Is that what I'm getting?
Whose crappy social media's crashed?
Trump's. It crashed because of a million trolls came on and.
No, it hasn't even started yet.
No, it went live and it crashed.
No, it didn't.
It did.
I just said November they're inviting beta guests on.
Trump's new social media site collapses after trolls flood it before launch. Boom.
Oh, look at you breaking news stories. Well, read it out. Can you read, or are you too buzzed? You want me to read?
I can't read, but I'm not going to try.
I hope they
Give me a
didn't
sec.
take at liberal pussy because I was hoping to reserve that for you on the play. I think you'd be great on Truth.
Yeah, but that's a little too on the nose.
Mm.
I mean, if I'm gonna troll, you got to be undercover a little
All
bit.
right. While you're getting that, let me just do our live read for the great J Sabs here. Of course, it's Stillbirth Awareness Month. I'm probably still getting that wrong and incorrect. But Janine's first baby, it was a stillbirth. We lost Diana Hope a number of years ago. Very sad for all of us. Since then, Janine has turned into an absolute warrior, raising funds, raising awareness for Star Legacy, which is doing some great work to do research and to get some more information on how exactly they can stop stillbirths and some other things of the like. We have a link in the description below. Again, if we've ever made you laugh, if J-Sabs has ever made you laugh, you could find it in your heart to throw a donation that way. Please do so. The link is in the description below. People are donating $10, $50, $100, whatever you can spare would be great. Star Legacy does some incredible work. We've done stuff with them. We've done walks with them. We've done all sorts of things with them. And it's just a great, great foundation. So again, if you can donate in the memory of Diana Hope, Janine's first baby, that would be much, much appreciated. Link in the description of this episode below. Thank you guys for that.
Yes, we really appreciate that. It's a wonderful cause. Just hit the link and you'll see, read up about it. There's not enough said about what's going on there, which is the point of the whole foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, apparently the Trump, I'm looking it up now. It's hard to find, but the Trump site, social, apparently crashed because people just flooded it.
How the hell did they find it?
I don't know. I'm looking it up, but you tell me I don't pay attention to our friends, our friends chat, text chat.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I got the news. If you look, it was a post that one of our friends sent that a bunch of trolls flooded the website and it just crashed.
Yeah. And again, talking about the fact that social media companies don't really survive or don't really make it. There were two conservative ones, Parler and Getter, I think it was, that launched in the last year or so. And I'm being fair here. We're on Parler. I don't even remember if we were really on Getter ever.
I hope not. Are we on Parler?
Kind of stunk. Yeah, they kind of that.
Take us off Parler, will you?
You get in there and there's all sorts of crazy, insane conversation happening. Too much Q stuff. Too much conspiracy.
Of course there
theory.
is. It's
I like
Parler.
I like reading all that stuff. Some of it's entertaining. Some of it's interesting. But for the most part,
it's nonsense.
It's a lot of crazy in one concentrated area.
Cheers, Robin. Right back at you. And yes, DJ Shenanigan, I am minutes away from singing a random Metallica song. Maybe a deep cut. Might get lucky. Who knows?
Oh, that's amazing. We're going to get a deep cut tonight.
We might get some deep cut Metallica. I am, after all, drinking Metallica's branded whiskey.
Blackened. Is that their whiskey? Hold that up so everybody can get a good look at that right there.
This is Metallica's whiskey. It's called Blackened. And what makes it unique, and I'm not getting paid to say any of this. I just am a fan.
Yeah.
Each batch, you see it. It's a numbered batch here. Each batch is blasted with Metallica music, so the barrels react in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not that has something to do with anything, who knows? But it tastes good. It's a nice whiskey. I'm actually drinking it out of a blackened glass.
Adorable.
Yeah.
That is actually the most batshit crazy thing I have ever heard, and that's including all the stuff from Q. I mean, that we're gonna play Metallica music through the barrels of this whiskey, and it's gonna. I mean, that is Q couldn't have come up with something that ridiculously absurd.
Apparently, the vibrations of the music affects the barrels and the taste, and who the hell knows. I've had maybe since Blackened has been a thing, I've gone through 3 bottles.
Are you for real?
It's been like a year, maybe a little more, and it's not.
That is shocking.
Not just me. I've had, shared it.
Now you're
And
blaming your wife.
they all kind of taste the same. What?
Now you're blaming your wife.
I'd say that. Friends, not you.
What friends? You don't have you.
I
just,
have friends.
Who's coming over to your house drinking? That's the craziest thing I've
After
ever
I
heard.
have a few drinks, the friends just appear. And Miss Justice, no, unfortunately, there is no place that I know of that has me playing the guitar anywhere
Thank God.
yet.
Oh what?
Yet.
Yeah.
Did you get new jeans, Frank? No, I didn't. I think that's an old bag that we've just had. I don't think that has anything to do with my current jean situation.
All right. First of all, for the audience who doesn't know Frank that well, Frank is not much of a drinker. When he does drink, he drinks the wussiest of wussy cocktails ever.
I like sweet.
This guy is a
things that are sweet.
Malibu Bay Breeze.
I
kind of
love
a guy.
Malibu Bay Breezes.
Exactly.
They're sweet. I like
So-
sweet drinks.
So the fact that you're drinking whiskey and now we're telling me that you went through 3 bottles in a year seems like you should be at a meeting right now.
To be fair, it's been a hell of a year. Pandemic wise. I'm not a lush, Miss Justice. I enjoy whiskey, and I don't get drunk. I'm not drunk. I have a glass or two here or
Accurate.
there.
Very accurate.
I'm not a lush.
Hmm.
Honestly, I don't drink a lot. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to pick a favorite drink cocktail, I'd
Wait, you
say-
don't drink a lot of things outside of all the whiskey that Metallica's made?
Right. That's the only reason I started drinking whiskey. Not that I started, but that I tried it even, is because it's a Metallica whiskey. I'm gonna be completely honest. I like Metallica. I buy their albums. I physically buy CDs from them. I buy their, when they come out with vinyl stuff.
How
I'm
do you
a
do
fan.
that? Where do you go for that? Into
I
a
know,
time
it's
machine?
tough. Yeah, I get in my time machine. I go back to the 90s. I buy a
Jesus.
CD. They have CD. You go to their website. They sell CD. I buy every now and then. They come out with vinyl stuff. I buy
On their
this-
wait, did you get it on their website or their MySpace page? How does it work? Explain it to me.
Their Pony Express. They deliver it right to you.
Is
nice.
there a visit counter on the bottom of this website?
There might be. There might be a dancing baby or two. You never know. Thank you, Susan F's stuff. I love that name. Lush Schmush. You get yours, Frankie. Thank you.
Listen,
Nothing wrong with a little drink here or there.
I love a good, Lindsay likes whiskey's her fave. I love a good whiskey too.
I'm responsible. I don't go crazy with it.
Yeah.
I don't overdo it. I have one or two in a long time. I won't have another drink for a long time. It's here or there. Time to go to bed. Maybe. Lisa G, I'm telling you, if you're a whiskey fan, it's not that harsh. It has kind of like a wood. You could taste let's see, finished in black brandy casks. It's good stuff. It does. It's got a nice
I don't
flavor.
even know what that is. Do you even know what a black brandy cask is?
I know what a cask is, and I know what brandy is. Black brandy. I'm assuming it's a dark brandy. I have no idea, but I know what a cask is, and it adds some flavor to it. It adds like a woodsy kind of flavor. It's nice, earthy.
First of all, I just want to say Brandy's a fine girl. Okay, that's I just want to make sure.
What a
everybody
good
knows
wife she would be.
My stance on that. Yeah, I feel like I wish I could. I'm unprepared for this, but I have to do this.
Thank you, Bird. I don't think you seem that sloshed, Frank. I'm not. I had literally this much of one glass with ice and a little bit of a second. That's it. And it's not that much, and I can handle it.
What?
Okay, you're on the podcast here because I don't have Janine, so
I love the way she answered the phone. What?
that's the way my wife addresses me at all times with utter disappointment. Okay, listen.
Wow.
Listen to me. If I told you Frank drank whiskey, how much whiskey would you consider to be Like if I said, what's the most whiskey you think Frank could drink in a year?
Year and a half, conservatively. Let's say a year and a half.
Well, now the number's changing. But give me a
I would say
round
a year.
estimate
More
of
than
what
that.
you think Frank would drink whiskey wise in an entire year.
Metallica whiskey.
Because I know Frank, or would I think a normal person? Like not that he's not normal. I don't know, like 4 or 5.
4 or 5 what? Glasses?
No, bottles.
Bottles in a
Boom.
year.
Boom.
Yes.
Bottles of whiskey?
Yeah, we're talking about 12 months, bud.
That's Frank, Mr. Malibu Bay Breeze, Mr. Southern Comfort shot taker.
People
So
change.
Southern Comfort.
I am shocked by this.
Plus, I'm friends with you. That's enough reason to down a
that's-
couple of bottles.
Being friends with me will make anybody drink. I agree with that.
Plus, it's Metallica.
How many bottles of wine can I drink in a week?
Well, that's you're dealing with a tougher situation. Is everybody surrounded by? Am I driving everybody to alcoholism? Is that what you guys are telling me?
Yes.
You seem to be the common denominator here.
Yes.
All right, now I'm gonna have to do
Coincidence?
some reflecting now.
Yeah. Maybe turn that.
And Frank has to deal with you 3 times a week.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
So,
Your wife is a saint, by the way.
I swear to God, I thought when you said 4 or 5, you were gonna say glasses because nobody would guess that.
I mean, a glass. When you say glass, it's this much.
Okay, all right.
It's not
that's
like
beautiful.
it's this much. It's this. That's a glass.
I think this is. I'm gonna go for a second opinion. I'm sorry.
Who are you calling? My wife? My wife.
No, I'm not calling your wife.
All right.
I'm calling my backup D.
Oh God, who's that?
I don't know if she'll answer the phone.
You have a backup wife?
Not a backup wife. I got a backup D. I got a second D.
Is it my brother's wife?
Hello?
Hey, listen.
Yep.
Quick question. You're on the podcast.
Oh, hi.
Okay. If you and you can't hear Frank right now. If you
Okay.
had to guess, now for the audience who doesn't know, this D, not my wife, is Frank's sister-in-law. If you had to guess how much whiskey your brother-in-law has consumed in the last year,
Year and a half.
how much would you say?
I don't, not a lot.
What's not a lot?
What's not? Thank you. What's not a lot?
I would say if he had one drink, it would be a lot.
Wow. Tell her it's Metallica whiskey.
Thank you. No, the fact that it's that is not has nothing to do with
That's the
anything.
only reason. That's the only reason I bought it. in
You
the
would
first
say
place.
one glass of whiskey is a lot.
Yeah, I would say that for Frank. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now tell her what
We're
it is and see
podcasting
if she's
tonight. It's
surprised.
Thursday.
I know, but they found Brian Luandrie. We had to do a special episode.
Oh.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. I got to plug this in here. All right. Now, Deanna, if I told you it was Metallica whiskey, what would you up that number to?
Oh, then he would probably drink the whole bottle.
Okay. Thank you. Still a bottle. Your brother-in-law has consumed how many bottles? 3?
Maybe 3.
Really?
3 bottles in the last year.
Year and a half
And you
since
feel
the
like
beginning of
that's
the
a lot.
pandemic.
That's a lot. Even in the pandemic year, I'm going to say that's a lot for Frank.
Yeah,
Not
that's
that
true.
much.
Because I know he's just really not a big drinker.
I'm not.
He's
I
not.
mean, but he's really not. But I don't know. He did surprise me a couple of times. You said on the podcast he was enjoying like champagne and margaritas. So maybe I'm wrong.
Champagne was my anniversary.
Mr. Fancy Pants alcoholic on this show all of a sudden.
Oh boy.
You know, people surprise you.
It is a big surprise because honestly, in real life, Janine is the huge lush alcoholic and she doesn't drink at all on the show. Whereas
Out of
Frank,
you 3, I would say Janine.
yeah.
Out of
Oh,
Thank
us
you.
absolutely.
4, I would say me.
Yeah, well, you have you're probably drunk right now.
I am.
Okay. All right. I'm going to let you get.
And a little something else. But I'll like.
Oh boy.
All right. I'm going to let you get back to it. I don't want to
All right.
ruin your buzz. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Thank
Thank
Isn't it a school night? Doesn't she have to work tomorrow?
I don't think it matters.
Okay.
Listen, the future of this country
I'm
is
not-
doomed anyway. It doesn't
I'm not
matter if we have a
judging
little fun
anybody.
at night. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, now it doesn't matter. But for me, It's a huge
Well,
deal.
you're not teaching children. Not that
No, I'm
Deanna's
not.
technically teaching children. I'm just saying.
Thank you, Lindsay Beard. Gotta run, enjoy, Frankie. I appreciate it. And no, I don't have a problem. I would admit it if I did. It's literally a glass or two within 2 months. That's not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad.
I'll say this. You'll know when Frank has an intervention because we will do it on this show.
That's true.
We never miss an opportunity to capitalize on something in our personal lives.
So long as you don't, I don't call my mom a whore and you run across the room and punch me in the face.
When did that happen?
Paulie Walnuts and Chris. When they did
You're a disgrace.
That was a failure of an intervention.
You killed Cosette? Why? Remember Gandolfini?
Man, what a
He
legend.
gets so upset, and then he goes, "That's because I know what it's like to lose a pet." He's still going back to that stupid horse. Fucking sociopath.
Hey, pets are a real loss. So if you lose a pet, that's not nothing. You know that.
Established. Teachers are craziest of all. I wish I would have known when I was in high school just how batshit crazy like if I would have known then what I know now about teachers. Man.
Yeah.
Man.
Let's see. Shelly Gambino. I want Trump vodka. I would imagine it would be Trump with peach flavored. Peach flavored? No. Teehee.
This is what happens when he drinks. You can't.
I make jokes when I drink. I'm when I drink. Some people get depressed. Some people get loud. I get happy. I have no.
Mm-hmm.
I get fun.
Hold on, I lost my earpiece. You especially get happy at slamming the former president of the United States. I feel.
I slam you too. You're an idiot. How's that? And I'm not drunk. I've had a glass and a half. It's really nothing.
By the way, Shelly, let's be honest. We had Trump steaks, so I can't think that vodka's that far away. I mean, he's going to give it a shot at some point.
Yeah, that crashed and burned. Kind of like the Trump board game, Trump University.
Easy, big
All right,
man.
I'll stop. Hey, Bird likes Whiskey Frank.
Mm-hmm.
So do I. Whiskey Frank's a good guy. Whiskey Frank's the guy I want to have a drink with.
Yes. Robin, Skull Vodka. I think my Skull Vodka bottle has something to do with Dan Aykroyd.
Yes.
It indeed does. Skull Vodka is a Dan Aykroyd thing. I've had it. It is delicious. It's really amazing.
Dan Aykroyd is very, he's a wonderful spokesman of this. If you hear him talking about his Skull Vodka, he knows the ins and outs of it. He tells you how it's made.
Yeah.
And he speaks so passionately about it. I'm like, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. There's no impurities in it. He's very big on all of that. It's very, yeah.
And he does this. It's weird. He talked about it. He said, there's like, I don't know what kind of crystal. It's like quartz or something. I don't know. But they pour the vodka over this crystal. And he said, I don't know if it makes it. He goes, I don't know if it makes a difference at all. But people like it better when it's poured over this crystal. Mm-hmm. And it's weird, but hey, it's their gimmick and it works, I guess.
Dan Aykroyd is batshit crazy, by the way. If you love alien talk, there is a podcast that he did with Joe Rogan before Rogan moved to Houston.
One of my favorites. Yes.
Like a year or so ago, year and a half, a year before the pandemic, I meant to say. Really fun conspiracy, alien talk sort of an episode. Really great. Really great show.
It is really good. And he talks about his encounter with the Men in Black.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really fascinating. I mean, take it for what he says. I don't know what it was. I'm just telling you what I saw. That's all he said. That's the way he puts it. And when it comes from, I guess, celebrities, I don't know why, but they have a little more. You kind of believe them a little more than some random guy. But Dan Aykroyd, he sells it, man. He's like, listen, this is what happened. I'll tell you exactly what I was doing at the time. This is what I saw. You decide what it is. I don't know. I don't know what it was.
He also had a lot of. What I also found interesting is like his father had experiences too. Like there was a lot of talk like this kind of back in his family. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And no, Pamela Kittle, I am not high. She says I'm high. No, I had literally a drink and a half. That's all I've had. And I had a lot of lo mein before, so that's kind of soaking up the whiskey. I've been dreaming it out lo mein all the way to fuck over here. That's probably line of the show.
Oh, I think Gigi died taking a shit is the best line from The
That's
Sopranos.
a good line.
That's one of
Paulie
my
did have a
favorites.
lot of good lines.
Yeah.
How you doing? Tate.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, big man? Should we leave it there?
We have another topic. Metallica has turned. Come on, that's not right.
It wasn't what?
Metallica has turned Frank into an alcoholic. That's not right.
That's accurate.
I'm not an alcoholic.
It may not be right, but it's very accurate.
It is not.
Odds on Trump's thing being successful. I'm very curious. If there's somebody who could do it, I think it's him. I still don't know if it's enough. 80 million people voted for this guy. I still don't know if that's enough to make a social media network succeed. That's how hard it is to make a social media network succeed.
Maybe. I mean, I think his appeal is going to diminish over the next few years. It's just an opinion, but I don't think it'll last as long as he's hoping. I think he should, if this was going to be successful, he should have started it up 6-7 months ago. You know, if that would have been the height, that would have been the perfect time to get this going. That would have drawn a lot more people. I think now it's kind of he didn't strike while the iron was hot.
I also think that like the problem with Getter and Parler was it was all one-sided, and I think even Republicans kind of felt like, you know,
that's the thing. We're all I mean,
you spoon-fed the same the stuff that you already believe for so long. You almost get that tunnel vision. I feel like a lot of people who jumped onto Parler and Getter in the beginning kind of were like, yeah, let's see what else is. I'm going to go back to Facebook or Twitter just to kind of see what's happening in the world because you're only getting sort of one side of it. Same thing happened to, what was that? Clubhouse. Everybody was Clubhouse. And then after a while, you're kind of like, what do I care what this marketing person thinks about? You know, what do I give a shit? And, you know, and then you kind of like tuned in to hear like a celeb talking for that night. And even that got tired once they stopped paying them to be there and do that. That got tired. And I feel like everybody kind of like flattened out on Clubhouse.
It's rough because I think we all want different sources, but I think when you get down to the individual, like if I asked one person, how many social medias are you signed up for sites, you know,
yeah,
they'd say 2 or 3, maybe 4. You know, to spread yourself so thin, to check a million things, it's just such a pain. So it's hard to introduce a new one when you've got 3 or 4 titans. You know, it's hard to throw a new one in the mix.
And what's weird is even through the test of time, television, newspapers, and radio, those seem to be the thing. Television's being replaced by YouTube, newspapers is being replaced by Facebook, Twitter, and radio's being replaced by podcasts. So, you know, people are still behaving the same way. They're just going to the newer version of those items. And there's not a lot of room in that newspaper blog world. It's Facebook and it's Twitter for the news, and it's Facebook to see what your Facebook and Instagram to see what your family and friends are doing.
That's the thing. There's on paper, there's infinite room, but in reality, in terms of the public interest, there really isn't a lot of room for stuff because you got all these different things, but again, you're gonna have you have maybe 3 or 4 social media sites that are the main focus, and all the other ones, they might be good, they might have something different, but they're not going to be the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikToks. They're not going to be that.
Yeah,
it's very difficult to compete with any of those. Does Frank burn frankincense? I might have to now.
A little bit. Look like you were about to say a little bit with that face.
A little bit.
Would Truth censor liberals? Now, as a gag, you gotta, even if it's not really Hillary, which it would never be, I think you got to give Hillary a profile and then take it away from her. I think we all want to see that.
So if that's catch-22. Since it's truth and it's uncensored and it's free speaking and blah blah blah, you got to figure liberals. What if all the liberals gotta and it's 50-50 now?
Yeah.
What if truth became 50-50 liberals versus conservatives? Then it's not really what the conservatives and the Trump supporters signed up for.
It's weird to say, and this is not to say that the guy can't win re-election in 2024, because I think he still can. But
Maybe.
to be totally honest, and I feel like if you're being honest with yourself, you can't fight this. Since he got kicked off of Twitter, he's not as powerful. Or I shouldn't say that, not powerful. I want to say impactful.
Well, I think since he got kicked out of the Oval Office, he's not that impactful.
I just think that he's not that impactful. That was sort of his thing. He was really good at it. He, like, every time he tweeted, the entire world
absolutely
reacted and wrote an article on it. We don't have that anymore. Again, he can still win the election. I'm not saying he needs Twitter to win. I'm just saying he doesn't have the same impact as he did.
If, let's say, he did still have Twitter, but he's no longer the president of the United States, he's just former President Trump, would his tweets still carry as much weight as they did? I don't think they would. He could say whatever he wants, and it wouldn't be as impactful because the consequences aren't as great as when he was president.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the president gets at POTUS. If he gets reelected, do they give him at POTUS?
Yeah, of course they would. Why wouldn't they?
Because they suspended at real Donald Trump.
Oh, gotcha. Right. Good question. Probably not, because it's him. I don't think they would, because it's his. It would be his. Hit Trump is banned. You can't go in any. If he tried to go in under another name, they wouldn't allow that. It has to be because it's him. They wouldn't do it.
And nobody was hoping for a burner account from the president more than me. That would have just been amazing.
Right.
He had a fucking burner account. That would have just been great.
Well, this is his burner account. This truth, whatever.
There you go. Steve Bannon, Republicans and Democrats voted to hold Steve Bannon in criminal contempt for defying the Capitol attack subpoena. You know, the January 6th committee there is subpoenaing a lot of people. And Steve Bannon said, I ain't going. No way, no how. They voted in the House today, 229 to 202.
Which is disturbing to me.
With 9 Republicans supporting the resolution, and will now pass to the U.S. Attorney General for further consideration.
How only 9? Forget you're a Republican, you're a Democrat. Someone ignored a subpoena. That's the bottom line. I don't care who it is. You get subpoenaed, you show up. That's the law. Why would, what was it, 202 people? I forget what
229 to 202.
202 Republicans. Why would they? What is their excuse for saying, yeah, he didn't have to show up? That's the law. You must show up when you're subpoenaed. Why would they let him go for that?
They're voting with party. I think the real story, the amazing thing is that 9 people didn't vote with party. That's the breaking
That is amazing.
news.
But why? My question then becomes, why is there even a vote? It should just be, you ignore a subpoena, you're in contempt. That's the bottom. There shouldn't even be a vote.
Yeah.
That's the law. You ignore a subpoena, you're in contempt of court.
Well, procedure, I guess.
Well, procedure. That shouldn't even be the procedure. The procedure should be, you break the law. Why vote on whether it's very clear that he broke the law? Why even vote on it? It happened.
I don't know.
You know, it's not like if Steve Bannon robbed a liquor store. Why did it come back to liquor? I don't know. But when if Steve Bannon robbed a liquor store, would you have a vote on whether or not? And it's definitely him. Would you have a vote on whether or not he should show up in court?
Right, but it's different. It's not criminal. This is, this is a
It
subpoena
is
coming
ignoring a subpoena
from Congress.
Yeah, it's law to show up for a subpoena. No.
Yeah, I know, but they have to. They have to.
I don't even know why there's a vote. It shouldn't be that way. It should be, ignore a subpoena. The very next step is you're in contempt of court. Bottom line, case closed. It shouldn't even be a vote. no matter who it is.
I can't tell if that's you or the Metallica whiskey talking, you know?
Little from column A, little from column B.
All right, my man. Just over an hour and a half. I think we're going to leave it there. Are you good?
Good as it gets.
You want to trash anybody else before we go?
I could
you wanna
trash
go to a
you for a
meeting?
while if you want.
Do you want to go
No,
to a
I'm
meeting?
good. I'm good.
Are you sure?
I'd tell you if I wasn't. I'm actually, we joke around. I'm fine. I'm actually not even drunk. I'm not going to say it's not. I'm a glass and a half in. And when I say glass, it's this much.
Mm-hmm.
That's,
You're not a drunk. You just play one on a podcast?
I guess.
Okay.
That makes you feel better.
Okay.
Just last note.
Go ahead.
I did fully watch Dave Chappelle's special.
This is huge breaking news.
Beginning to end. I watched the whole thing.
Should we talk about this now, or do you want? I don't know if it's going
Whatever
to
you want.
matter come Monday.
I did leave a comment on our last podcast. I commented in our
Well,
comment
who the
section.
hell's going to find out? We got,
Well, people
like,
in the
hundreds of
comments were
comments.
asking. People in the comments were saying, Frank, you should watch the full thing. You should watch this. You know, before you give your opinion. So I did. Literally right after our podcast, I went into the bedroom and I watched it. I stayed up. I was up late, and I watched it, and then I put a comment up after.
Okay, so I said that Dave Chappelle was not being anti-LGBTQ in this special.
Now I feel I put it.
Frank said he did. We debated it. We debated it again unanimously. Hold on a second. This is important that we make sure. Thanks to Bird for just being solid all the way around. It's true. We didn't do a salute to the LA Times.
Bird keeping us on our toes.
Fuck the LA Times. Thank you,
Fuck
Bird.
them. Okay.
I was unanimously voted winner in this debate. Unanimously. I don't know
if you were you. No.
I mean, maybe some of the Frank Homers who just love everything you say were on your side, but outside
Frank
of that,
Homers.
Homers, yeah.
What does that mean?
You never heard that? If you're a homer, like you root for the home team, you never like no matter what you do, you're a homer. You're like you're Mets all the way, or you're Republican all the way. You're a homer. So people who just love you are just going to be on your
Cool.
side no matter
Never
what.
heard
even
that
though
term. But
you're
yes,
blatantly
Lisa G in the chat. Yay, Frankie C. Can't wait to hear this. It was because of your comment in the last podcast. I actually it said you were the one who said you should watch the full special.
Do I have a red dot on my shirt?
Literally right after.
Do I have a red dot on my shirt?
What's
Or
that
is
red
a
dot on
Seinfeld-
your sweater? I think that's our Seinfeld reference. So because you said that, I literally, after I read your comment, I said, you know what? I'm going to go watch it right now. And I turned it on and I watched the full thing.
Were you drunk when you watched it?
I was not.
Do you remember watching it?
I do.
Okay.
It was last night.
Okay. How many? I know you weren't drunk, but how many bottles of whiskey had you consumed prior to watching it?
Yeah, close to one. I mean,
Okay.
that's not even that much.
All right.
Okay. Yes, there you go. DJ Shenanigan kind of summed it up there. But I could read you my statement. It's not that long if you want to hear what I had to say about it.
Go ahead.
I just finished watching Dave Chappelle's special on Netflix.
Wait, did you write this down? Is this a prepared
I
statement?
made a comment on our last.
Oh, you reading?
Oh,
You
no.
can't remember what your comment was?
I can, but I feel like I phrased it the best way I could
Go ahead.
in this because I went in and I edited it a little bit, but I feel like this is the best way I could put it.
Go ahead.
I just finished watching the Dave Chappelle special on Netflix. I thought 99.999% of it was hilarious. It was the one part that just seemed out of place to me. The line about being Team Turf didn't go with the rest of the act, in my opinion. It seemed a little out of character for him compared to the rest of the act. The joke that followed about cis women being overlooked for trans women, i.e. Caitlyn Jenner, was funny. The story about Daphne was absolutely perfect and beautiful. The jokes were awesome and hilarious. I love that he insults everyone, very reminiscent of Don Rickles, hilarious. It's the, quote, gender is a fact, end quote, part of the turf stuff that I can see as being a true, not jokey, insult to trans people. The rest of the act was great and pro-trans, which is why it felt out of place for Chappelle, who I feel is a pro-trans person at heart. Just my opinion.
Okay, so two things. If he's a pro-trans person, then why are all these people treating him this way in the trans community?
Because he made a very not pro-trans, like 99% of the time, everything he says, is jokey, and he makes fun of everybody. 99% of the things he says, pro-trans, I love these, I have friends, and all this stuff is pro-trans. But that's why this seemed out of character. It just didn't seem like it fit. If he would have just took that 2 sentences out, I feel like it would have been a nice flow to the act. But if for some reason this line of I support trans, I support trans, I support trans, by the way, gender's a fact and I'm pro TERF, just came out of left field, and it stood out like a sore thumb. It just didn't seem like a natural flow. It seemed very out of character for someone who's very pro that side of the spectrum, that whole thing. It didn't seem it seemed weird and out of place.
What was the TERF thing again? What did that stand for?
It's trans exclusionary radical feminists. So it's feminists.
I'm not even drunk, and I don't even know what the hell you just said.
See, I'm not. I could prove that I'm not drunk. A trans exclusionary radical feminist.
You did handle that very well.
Thank you. So it's feminists, it's women who are very pro-woman, but they don't include trans women. They believe that trans women aren't real women and haven't earned the feminine, the feminism yet. The feminist support, I guess. And
okay, so they are feminists. They want
female,
equality.
but only for cis women.
But they're basically saying not for you people because you just got here 5 minutes ago. Is that a basic way of saying?
Basically, which is short-sighted and unfair, because a trans woman, for all intents and purposes, has been a woman since they, it's just because someone transitions. Let's say someone transitions at the age of 40, doesn't mean they weren't a woman since they were a kid.
Is that actually true though?
What?
Is that actually true?
What part?
The born this way thing? I mean, I believe it for gay people. I don't know if that's necessarily true.
People are born. I think for most cases, people live, their lives knowing.
I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying, like,
every case is different. I feel
if you lived for 25 years as a man and then you're just like, you know what, I think I want to be.
I mean, I can't speak for every case, but I feel like a lot of the time, right?
I think you'd be great at it.
Thank you. I feel like a lot of the time, it's people are just, they grow up. Let's say a man grows up in a man's body, but for the long time they knew and just could come to terms with the fact that they are actually a woman in a man's body. That it's not like they wake up one day and go, "Oh, I'm a woman." I'm sure it's a feeling, and it's something inside of them that they've been dealing with for a very long time. It's not just an on the whim thing. It's not a decision. It's something that happens that they're born with, I believe. It's like being gay. They're born that way. It's just the way it is for them. Same way you're born a man, believing wholeheartedly inside that you're a man.
Yeah.
People are born in a man's body that they just feel they're not. They're just, that's the way they're born. And it's not, I don't think it's someone wakes up and decides. I don't think it's a choice. It's something that they feel on the inside, and that's the way they are. Is there a call-in line? I have some questions. There is. I wish they had a call-in line. Now,
we do have a call-in line. We just don't use it.
Yeah, that would be giving out our personal numbers. Please ask your questions in the chat. We can see them.
There's a public line. We will do a call-in show one day. I promise you. Because we're going to do one of those. Frank's wife, in the midst of explaining to me one night how we have to get Frank to a meeting, came up with this great concept to do Ask Me Anything episode. And I think we'll do that, and we could use the call-in. We'll put the phone on for that one. But so yes,
that would be fun. And ask us anything.
And we'll do it in the comments too. We'll plan that a show eventually.
Yeah, and believe If you have
And the ball.
911,
That's the call line.
don't call 911 people unless you have an
Yeah.
emergency. But yeah, ask your if you have a question, go ahead. I mean, as long as we're up here, I don't think we're going to be going very much longer. But if you want to jump in with a quick question, go for it.
Okay, you said a lot of stuff there. Can we just get back to comedy? That it's, you need setup
Of course you do.
to have punchline.
Agreed.
And I think setup doesn't always have to be something that you necessarily agree with.
No, but
I mean, I say a lot of insane shit on this show that I don't agree with.
Yeah, but if you listen, but I watched the whole thing, and when he says
This whole
he goes,
show, or are you
"I'm
talking
team
about Chappelle?
Chappelle,"
Okay.
he goes, "I'm Team Turf. I am. Gender's a fact. That's not the way you say it has to be part of it as well. He's not. It's not just a joke setup. He's saying
Right, but I feel
a
like
statement.
I understand that, and I feel like that was more towards this idea of that he's jealous again because he can relate to turf because he is part of a minority group that has been suffering and fighting for years. And
Great.
all subsequent groups that have come after have had an easier, quote unquote, easier time.
Okay, if that's the case, which if it is, wonderful. He's just doing the joke of I'm just jealous, blah blah blah. The setup needs work. He's
Thank
not
you.
perfect. I'm not. Listen, Dave Chappelle is a pro. He knows what he's doing.
What's
I'm
another
not
way to
gonna,
say that? You're right, Ant. You were right.
No, listen,
Oh.
listen.
I feel vindicated.
Okay, good for you. Feel whatever you want. But I am no professional stand-up comedian by
That's
any
for
stretch
damn
of the
sure.
imagination.
Yeah.
And I would be the last person to advise a pro like Dave Chappelle on anything in that realm.
I'd like to see that though.
No, I wouldn't even come close. But if that's the case,
Mm-hmm.
standing up there and saying, I'm Team Turf. Gender's a fact. You had to come out of this and this and this. He went a long time before he got to that punchline. If he just said, listen, I'm Team Turf because I think, blah, 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 I think this is the way it is, and he just went on with his joke, that may have been a little better. But the
Can
way
I
he
say something?
went about it, please.
Can I say something? If he's giving a commencement speech, if he's at a political rally, if he's at a press conference,
yeah,
I 1 billion% agree with you. 1 billion%. But he's at a stand-up comedy show.
I understand. I get that. But a lot of stuff in stand-up comedy,
there you get to do
they
these things, 'cause
pontificate a little bit.
It's not like he's sitting there going, I got my anti-LGBTQ thing out there. I snuck it in.
Listen,
80 minutes of pro-LGBTQ material. I got my 1 little minute,
No, because the rest of the jokes were not anti-trans, but aimed at trans, which was funny. He had a lot of good trans jokes. He had a lot of good white people jokes. He had a lot of good jokes about everybody. He had very good stuff, and it was hilarious. This just felt a little out of left field. It didn't seem like it was. Because I give him the benefit of the doubt. He's not anti. I don't think he's anti-trans at all. He had his friend. It was great. It was a beautiful story. And he's not. He's a compassionate guy. He's a warm person, and I get it. Which is why I think the joke went over a little, the way it did. I just think it was out of left field a little bit. I mean, yeah, not every joke's going to be perfect, and I get that. But I just think this one was saying, the preamble needed a little work, is all I'm going to say. Maybe he didn't mean it, and that would be great. I love it. And he's a great guy and everything. Wonderful. I just think the joke, if that setup was just to support the joke, maybe it just needs a little more work. That's all. That's my opinion. I just think it just didn't fit with the rest of the narrative he was telling.
You don't fit with the rest of the narrative.
That may be true, which is why I downed 3 bottles in the last year.
I'm officially out of Jumpstart coffee, so we have to end this show.
That sounds like a plan.
Agree to disagree, even though you admit that I'm right.
What? No.
15% off Jumpstart Coffee with the promo code AOA15. Click the link in the description below. Also, don't forget, we got plenty of amazing merchandise available to purchase right now at shopanthononair.com. Look, I forgot I'm wearing a merch shirt tonight. This is
There it is.
Fuck you, TikTok. We could make TikTok looking logos too, sons of bitches.
Wow. See, that was out of character for you.
Yeah,
No,
not
actually,
really.
it wasn't.
It's just kind of like everybody was making that sort of a logo, and I thought that was a nice thing. So we had our merch guy make it.
Should we have a shirt that says like F the LA Times?
Oh, that would be nice. Should we make that kind of a shirt? By the way,
I don't know if
everybody,
that's kosher with the whole slander thing.
I love how everybody in the comments for the Dave Chappelle thing was commenting legalized comedy. Do you know how happy that made me?
I love it. I think comedy.
I
You
love
know,
that phrase.
I love it absolutely, 100%. And all his jokes about all the different communities there are out there were all wonderful and great and hilarious. And I was laughing, and it just this one just stuck out as weird to me. It didn't fit. That's my only, and I guess I'm sure people will see it in different
Speaking
ways.
of
I get
fit,
it.
the legalized comedy shirt comes in all sizes, from small to 5X.
You are the master of segues.
Link in the description below for the merch store for Jumpstart Coffee Company. And of course, if you could donate to the Star Legacy Foundation in the name of Diana Hope for JSABS, all very much appreciated. Links and more info to all of our stuff is at anthonyonair.com. To our wonderful moderators, our commenters, and everybody else who joined us tonight, thank you so much. Make sure you're subscribed if you're new on YouTube and hit that bell for notifications. Facebook, make sure you're following our page as well so you know when we drop new episodes. And of course, you can subscribe on all the podcast platforms. If you're on Apple, please rate and review. I hate asking for it, just like the thumbs up, but it does help grow the podcast. So,
More than you know, it does.
more than you know. We will catch you guys. Obviously, no show Friday. This is our third show of the week. We will catch you guys unless something huge happens.
Right.
Unless something huge happens. But until then, we'll catch you guys on the next episode.